On October 20th, 1967, me and Roger were riding up the creek in Bluff Creek, and we looked to past the root ball to our left, and up stood this creature. Now, you all know the story from here, but this is the confession. So, when I chased this creature up the bowling alley just after the sandbar there, she kind of put her two hands on this log and started to bend over and shake her rear end there profusely, and I saw those Bigfoot cheeks clap. And I looked back, and Roger, he was doing some relaxed dance, and he said, "Now everybody in the club getting tipsy." I'm not sure what that meant. And, well, all I thought was, they really are real. They really do exist. So that's the confession, and Russell Accord can suck my...
Yeah, well, a lot of folks did call him Too Good. But that wasn't because he was sporting two pistols. That was because he had a dick that was so big, it was longer than the barrel of that Walker Colt that he carried.
Then I hear the best thing to do is feed them to pigs. You've got to starve the pigs for a few days, then the sight of a chopped up body will look like curry to a piss head. You've got to shave the heads of your victims and pull the teeth out for the sake of the piggish digestion. You could do this afterwards, of course, but you don't want to go sieving through pig shit now, do you? They will go through bone like butter. You need at least 16 pigs to finish the job in one sitting, so be wary of any man who keeps a pig farm.
That's right, because if he has a pig farm, he's probably disposing of bodies. Woo! Throw that fucker to the pigs. If you don't know what that means, you should figure it out. Welcome, everybody, to the Squatchers Lounge podcast. That's right. I am your host, the Reverend Two Gun Kelly. Hello, everybody. And it is Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? You remember when they used to ask that back in the 80s on the news every night? I was like, it's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Hell yeah. We were in fucking bed where we belonged. By the way, this show is not for children under the age of 18. Well, under the age of 13, at least. If you think your parents love you, go ask them. You might be surprised at their answers. Okay, everybody, welcome to the show. We are here. We had to take last week off. The voice just could not do it, but we're going to try and do it tonight. That's for sure. There we go. Hi, everybody. Oh, let me show you. Mary will understand this. My health has changed in such a way that my hair has grown back. I mean, like, not like, I mean, like in places that it wasn't, it is now. I had a Cupid doll going on here, and now my hair is full of thick, luscious Indian hair again. And I'm, look at the beard, for God's sakes. I mean, it was scraggly and crapped out. So something is going on with me. Yeah, health-wise, I talked to the liver doctor yesterday. The liver's just kind of ugly and stupid, but not really of any changes. My labs are getting better. They lessened my medication every day. So those things are going on. Got some other concerns. I've got to go get a butt scope, the colonoscopy thing. I'm almost 50. Had to get it done sooner or later anyhow. So yeah, they're going to send me in for one of those. And no, there's not going to be any more curls because I'm going to go see Lucky down at the barber. I finally got me a barber, and I'm gonna let him cut it into a businessman's cut here probably Thursday. But this episode, Day Wonderland on YouTube. They are good friends of mine out of Chicago, and this is their truck and their trailer, and that was one of their trips. And they just recently did a -6 degrees Negative 12 degrees, extreme wintertime camping. I mean, negative 36 for real. So, these guys are trying to make a go of it. If you want to check them out, give them a subscribe and click the bell over here. And make sure, people, when you got the bell clicked, you click the bell and choose all. People complain that they don't get notifications all the time, and that's usually what the problem is. It defaults to personalized, which I don't understand because nobody ever personalizes these stupid things ever. But click the all button, and then you will get all notifications to a subscribe channel. You might want to check your subscription to my channel in case you're not getting your subscription bell notifications. But yeah, Jason and his family, they're hardcore at it, man. He used to be one of the world's strongest men. I mean, he was part of that world for a while and got injured, and this is a new life for him. So we're wishing him the best, and give it a check out at Live the number 2 Day Wonderland, as in you're wandering around, not wondering what happened to the Oneaters. Again, if you don't know what the Oneaters is, you should probably Google it because it's a great movie. All right, moving right along. This week we're talking about Bigfoot in North Cacalakka, North Carolina, for you people that's never lived in the Carolinas. I remember this was I remember when this was going on. There was a 2019, somebody had stolen this giant Bigfoot statue in North Carolina. Massive Bigfoot statue stolen from North Carolina business was finally located in the woods. Sasquatch found, read the Facebook post from the Avery County Sheriff's Office late Wednesday night. A very alert young man, Mike, notified the Avery Sheriff's Department that he had saw and located Sasquatch in the Edgemont community. We feel since Sasquatch seemed unharmed and released in such a remote area, the thieves either had a change of heart or found that having Sasquatch was just more difficult than they thought. Our deepest appreciation to Mike for the information. Until determination is made as to where Sasquatch's final location will be, he will live at the sheriff's office under the watch of the security camera. Pictures of the chief detective, Frank Littlefoot, wrestling the Sasquatch into submission and his temporary home at the Avery Sheriff's Office. So I remember when this came out in 2019, it was like a big thing. They literally stole an 8-foot Bigfoot statue. It was kind of funny. All right, moving right along. Bigfoot sighting reported in Western North Carolina. Now, for people that don't, that aren't American travelers that don't understand it, northwestern North Carolina. Sorry, that's what I was doing. No. North Carolina is a wild place. Map, dumbass. There you go. There we go. So if you take a look at North Carolina and you zoom on into it here, and we get out here towards the Charlotte area, North Greensboro, we're still talking about part of the Appalachian Trail, people. I mean, the Appalachian Trail runs right through North Carolina. And if you take a look at it, it's all forested mountains, forested lowlands. I mean, we've carved out some places to live, but other than that, there are great vast areas where there just are no towns. There's a community here and there, but there are endless ways to navigate in North Carolina and not really be seen with the national forests over here, the Cherokee National Forest. I can't pronounce that national forest. There's also the Uwharrie State Forest, if it's not a national forest. There's a bunch of stuff all over North Carolina that's protected lands where these creatures would be easily able to exist, just like they do here in California. So if you were doubting that North Carolina might be a squatchy place, I can tell you from experience, I have been in Asheville, which is right down here, which is a big rafting community area. We've been out in the wilds around Asheville on the rivers. The Blue Ridge Parkway is just like incredible to drive through. It's absolutely nuts. So anyhow, you can check out North Carolina that way. But back to the Bigfoot sighting reported in western North Carolina. A group claims to track the mythic ape known as Bigfoot through the hills and hollers of western North Carolina. Says they finally spotted the creature over the weekend in McDowell County. According to the group, which operates a Facebook page called Bigfoot 911 with over 1,000 members. The sighting occurred around 11 p.m. Friday night, and that would have been August 17th of 08. John E. Brunner, who runs the page, said that the creatures made its presence known after he and a fellow group member set up glow sticks at various locations in apparent attempt to lure the Sasquatch in. Now, I'm going to take a break here and let me interject. I've actually done this experiment, and what we actually did was we took water bottles, gallon water jugs, and then we cracked the green glow stick, a yellow glow stick, and a red glow stick, and we put them at the end of this end of this meadow, and left them there, and only so that the glow stick wouldn't move on its own. And something through the night actually moved the green glow stick, but whatever it was walked past the red one and the yellow one to get to the green one. So that's my personal experience with glow sticks and Bigfoot. I don't know, maybe. The angle of the moon was shining straight down on the road, and something big stepped into view, Brunner said. I turned my headlamp on, and I saw a large bipedal animal covered in hair. It took one step into the woods. Then I took off running towards where it went into the woods. Brunner went on to state that he and a fellow Bigfoot enthusiast proceeded to track what they claim was a large bipedal ape not recognized by modern science through the dark forest. A description of the sighting can be seen below. Its face was solid black with no hair on it. He said the hair looked shaggy all over its body. It turned and took 5 steps and was at the bottom of a hill, probably 30 yards. I could see the gluteus maximus flexing with each step. That's ass muscles if you don't know. So that was 2008, not too long ago. Here's another story out of North Carolina, who claimed to be the elusive Bigfoot himself, a wandering shaman supposedly mistaken for Bigfoot in North Carolina. Now, I remember this was 2017, again in August. Pardon me while I whip my lip. Excuse me while I whip this out. There we go. All right. A self-described shaman says a strange creature reportedly spotted in the hills of North Carolina last week was actually him dressed in animal skins. The Bigfoot sighting happened last Friday on the Appalachian Mountains, but the story took an even weirder twist with the mistaken identity claim. Gwyn McGregor says it was him wandering through the forest on the night in question, the 4th of August, but a local group claims the cryptid they saw could not have been him. Again, the Bigfoot 911, a Facebook group of more than 5,700 members that investigate sightings of the mythical creature in McDowell County, western North Carolina, said photos displayed on Mr. McGregor's website look nothing like the thing they saw. John Brunner, who runs the group, says that the creature he saw was 8 other members encountered last Friday night in the Pisgah National Forest. Pisgah, really? Let me get your name is P.I. Taker. Piss-taker. No, okay. Stood around 8 foot tall, had a different facial appearance, and moved with speed unmatched by a human. That's right. John Brunner is the commander for this group, and I want to address the recent revelation from the gentleman that stated that I saw him in the woods, and it's quite fascinating story, but there were a few problems with it. The creature I saw was 8 foot tall with stringy matted hair. The gentleman in the picture doesn't appear tall and is in a suit that appears to have short brown fur. The creature moved with speed unmatched by any human, and the creature that I saw had no hair on its face and had a flat nose in the picture in question. The face is covered in fur and has a snout. As I said, we tracked this creature for over an hour without seeing anything else. Okay, so the shaman was just trying to take credit, Just, I mean, come on, dude. Really? I mean, you go wandering around my campsites in the Sierras like this, you gonna catch a 300 Win Mag. I'm just telling you, don't. This is dumb. Don't do stupid like this. Speaking of dumb, it's time for our Camping Tips for Stupids episode. That's right. Let's go ahead and God bless it. Y'all weren't looking at none of that, and that just pisses me right off because I'm telling you to look at shit. There you go. Now you can look at it. See that dumbass right there? Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about. So, boy, some nights you just can't freaking win. That's what was I doing? Oh, yeah, Camping Tips for Stupids. Let's get a Camping Tips for Stupids going here. There we go. Let's try that. Let's try that. There we go.
Camping Tips for Stupids. Tip number 29. Snow is a cruel, mean bitch that likes to trick you and suck you down into the icy, cold, blue depths and kill you slowly with cold stuff. Yeah. My point is, snow can be deceptively deep, twisting ankles, stressing out knees, and overall just making taking out the trash a huger chore than it should be. So what do you do about it? Move to Hawaii. Can't do that? Turn into a dragon and burn that snow away. Can't do that? Well, shit, I don't know then. Wear snowshoes? Snowshoes work by spreading your load. Weight across the snow, so you don't sink into it. Kind of like a boat. More dumb because it's your huge, stinky, liberal millennial foot instead. A basic rule of snowshoes: the wider the shoe, the more powdery and deeper the snow it's meant for. It's all pretty simple, unless you're even more simple. And God help us all. And if you can't use snowshoes, then there's always Imperial walkers. They can always trek across most anything. Except dog shit. They slip and fall in it like newborn horses. It's crazy. This has been Camping Tips for Stupids. Remember to spay and neuter your idiot population.
God bless the mind of driven more. I'm serious. I can't believe I just said that, but I did. I actually did. Let's get back here. I still have a quasi to do. Let's see here. Yeah. There we go. And tonight's Quasi Theory, as recommended by the Quasi Man himself. And now, Quasi Theories from a Quasi Scientist with your host, Dean Cooper.
X marks the spot. Last year, for the Squatchers Lounge podcast that was on Ash Wednesday, I explained why Easter is a movable holiday and how to figure out when it will occur. I quote myself. The reason is obvious. It is always on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the first day of spring. I also pointed out that since the beginning of spring and the beginning of fall are called the equinoxes, the length of day and night being equal on those days, and that the path of the solar ecliptic and the celestial equator make an X where they cross on the day of an equinox. I also explained that most of the pagan religions at the time had a spring fertility festival that was held around the spring equinox, and that nearly all had a god who was the son of a virgin goddess, whose father was the highest god in the local pantheon. Pagan, or paganus in Latin, means a rustic person, a person of little understanding, a hillbilly. These various sons of God, a few of which I listed in my quasi for last Christmas, entitled A Yuletide Rant, all died for the sake of their followers and subsequently resurrected. 3 days later was the popular timing. A whole lot of them were crucified, but the time of the slaying of the god was always on or near the spring equinox. So what is the point of crucifixion on that big cross in the sky? Why nail your god up there? The association of the son of the greatest god with the sun is a pretty obvious metaphor. But why would these ancient peoples, who were pretty damned advanced, considering building pyramids, aqueducts, roads, measuring the distance from the earth to the moon, the diameter and circumference of the earth, etc., etc., why would they nail a god to the sky? Here's the quasi part. Behind all those pantheons, beyond the highest god, there was a limitless source of being, unformed, what Socrates called the good, the beautiful, the one without number. Not one without number in the sense of countless, but, since it is beyond any limit, cannot be described by numbers. Now, when that source of all things, called the Godhead by some Christian metaphysicians, and the Brahman by Hindus, decided, as the Hindu Vedas report, one am I, let me be many, it had to limit itself, make itself into a point, so to speak, so that there could be one and then many. You could say that it nailed itself to a cross so that its blood might become the life of the universe. But that's what the pagans said, and what do they know? You may read the text of this on my blog at bydean.com. That's BHAIDIN.com.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right, we're all out of bubblegum. Let's give a chance to give some shout outs here in the hangout, see who's hanging out with us live tonight. There it is, Miss Bella Allegria. Hello there, young lady. There's Ken the Viking. Hello, Ken. Glad you're with us, sir. Shane Barber, I hope you're getting to be feeling a little better. If not, we can all send him a little bit of extra mojo. You know, I need a little mojo myself, but I'll share it with you, brother. Here, have some of my mojo, man. Hope you get to feeling better. I really do. There's Aaron and Mary Duncan. That's right. Mount Goat Mary's in the house. I saw that fly ass boat y'all been fishing. I'm starting to get really, really jealous. I don't know if I'm going to get to come up for a salmon trip this year, but maybe next year. We'll talk about it during the trip. Ken, hello there. How you doing, sir? Glad you are with us. Speaking of the trip, June 7th through the 11th, I'm not missing it. I've scheduled everything around it. Rowdy's going to join us from the Bluff Creek Project, and we're going to have a really good time. We're staying at the Bluff Creek Resort in just north of Willow Creek. You can get reservations on Facebook. If not, you can get a hold of me, and I can get you their email address to get you some reservations to come out and camp at the Rev. I would like to think that it's not going to be my last one, but it very well may be. We shall see. So, Grasshopper et al. Hello there, Grasshopper. Glad you are with us. Cameron Young. Hello, Mr. Cameron Young. Glad you are with us tonight as well. I'm a little weepy now. Sorry. Rod Dupree. He's always in the place to be. I'm just not ready to share everything yet. We'll get there. Let's see here. Who else is in the house tonight? Harry Man Hoaxes and Hoodwings. Hello there, Miss Nikki. Glad you are with us as well tonight. Dean Cooper, our quasi theorist himself. If you haven't said hi to me, I can't say hi to you. So that's the way that all works. Okay, Mr. Fang, he may be joining us for the camp out this year as well. So we are all there. Gabriel Lawton, glad you are with us as well tonight. Live hanging here in the camp out or in the hangout. That is for sure.
I'm here to do one thing, is to bring one of these creatures back. I don't want to talk right now.
Tom, don't get mad.
Just keep the camera off right now, okay? I said I don't want to talk. You got it? Joan, get me a Snapple.
Damn it. Joan, get me a Snapple. Tell you what, man, cooking with Two Gun Kelly is tougher to follow than it looks. Let me tell you, that's for sure. Trying to keep meals under 600 calories per meal is, yeah, whatever the case may be. The gray area news, back to it once more. We're going to finish this up tonight. It might be Bigfoot by Donna Campbell Smith. That's right. June 1st of 2021. I believe in the existence of Bigfoot. My interest is rooted in stories Daddy told when I was a young person. He listened to talk radio at night, and he related his stories he'd heard that had to have been in the 1960s, maybe the late 50s. I also remember him talking about a wild man that lived back in the mountains or hills near where we grew up in upstate New York. Being a child who should be seen and not heard, I didn't ask questions about this wild man, so I don't know if it was just a story he'd heard or someone he knew saw it. I'm pretty sure he would have said so if he had actually had a sighting. Daddy also had a reoccurring nightmare about wrestling a wild man. I don't know if there's a wild man that triggered Daddy's nightmares was a Bigfoot or not, but thinking back on it, I think possibly so. New York's one of the top 8 states in numbers of reported Bigfoot sightings. In any case, that's where the enthusiasm came from. That's what it was. That's why I wanted to bring this up. She is the author of My Neighbors from the Woods by Donna Campbell Smith. It's the fictional story of Maggie, who discovers she has a family of Bigfoot living in the woods adjoining her farm. I spent many hours researching the subject for my book. I learned that even if you don't see the hairy beast, it often leaves signs of its presence. Here are the top 10 signs you may have had a close encounter with a Bigfoot. That's what I wanted to share with you guys from this. 1, you find huge barefoot prints in the mud or snow. 2, you smelled something so awful you can't describe it. Some try to describe it as skunk-like, but way worse. Some says it smells like rotten eggs or decaying meat. You heard something walking and you knew it was bipedal and it was big. Number 4, you've heard a variety of sounds that you are positive did not come from any known wild creature or bird. Whoops, yowls, growls, chatter, and grunts or whatever. Number 5, something is throwing rocks at you. Big ones or little ones, and you know no person did it. What else could it be? Something left you a gift. Rocks, feathers, shells, and other assorted items. Some people who suspect it's a Bigfoot leaving these gifts reciprocate and give it gifts in exchange. That's also called baiting animals, and it's also against federal law. But, but it's a Bigfoot. It doesn't matter. We can give it apples. You heard a loud knock that someone hit a tree with a baseball bat. Number 8, you found trees that were twisted in two and teepee structures made of limbs and small trees. Number 9, it talks. This one is rare. Some say they heard Bigfoot talk out loud in its own language. Sometimes Bigfoot are talking amongst themselves. A person hearing this cannot understand what Bigfoot is saying. Still, other folks have had a Bigfoot communicate directly with them. Okay. And number 10, you saw it. Maybe it ran across the road in front of your vehicle, or you saw it in the woods when you were hiking, or near a body of water while you were fishing. Maybe you saw it peeking in your window. The most famous Bigfoot sighting happened in '67 in Northern California. It was caught on film, and you can find it all over the internet. I guess those would be the top 10 things that you would have to think that you had a Bigfoot encounter. And with that, everybody, listen, my voice is just absolute shit. Let's check out the chat room. Make sure there aren't any questions that need answering before we get out of here tonight with our Bigfoot Campfire Story. I promise people the shows will get a little longer. You can hear it. The voice just can't. I don't know whether it's allergies, whatever. I go see the doctor on Monday. So we're trying it. You sound really good tonight. I told the wife this the other day. As of right now, me personally, I feel pretty good. I walk 1.5 miles a day. I eat 14 to 1,800 calories. I drink a bunch of water. And, I actually feel pretty good. So we'll see. We'll see how that changes in the future. I don't believe there's any. No, we didn't have any deposits needed for the trip in June. They just wanted to reserve your spot for you. You can pay when you get there. They're really laid back about this. So I don't know how busy they really are. But I'm really looking forward to it. Rowdy says it's a great place, and Rowdy wouldn't steer us wrong. So I'm kind of right there with him. Lance Windsor checked in a little late tonight as well. And I didn't want to miss him. So yeah, that's how that goes. Yeah, little by little, I'm getting better. The voice is holding up a little longer. Like the Tourette's guy fighting Bigfoot. Yes, I will ask him that. He will know. So I got a new I got a new fishing rod for my birthday. So yeehaw, we're gonna have to break it in and knock the stank off of it. It looks like a Tourette's guy fighting a Bigfoot. That's pretty freaking hysterical. Okay, with that, we love you guys. I will talk to you soon. And until next week, may the squatch be with you. Enjoy.
So you get high and then you put other people who smoke weed in jail? Duh. That's so hypocritical.
Hey, oh, yeah? Hey. Let me ask you something, Kumar. You like giving hand jobs?
No, sir.
You like getting hand jobs?
Yeah.
All right, well, that makes you a fucking hypocriticizer, too. So shut the fuck up and smoke my weed.
Apparently, I clicked the wrong button, but here we go. What the hell is that? I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that was a Bigfoot. Let me tell you a story. Well, I started out this journey simply a child. I couldn't have been more than 10 when my grandpa and I were on a water run. Well, back in those days, the freshwater spring would flow from the side of the mountains, and people would collect milk jugs and travel out of town to fill them up for drinking water. Honestly, it was amazing stuff. Somehow magical in all of its properties. Maybe there were minerals in it. I'm not really sure. Anyhow, the drive was long enough to have a long conversation. And on this particular trip, Pat looked over at me and said, "Jeffrey, do you know what a Sasquatch is?" And at that moment in time, the only thing I really could relate to Sasquatch was the Bigfoot I had seen on TV and read about in library books and the native stories I had been told. And I replied, "Well, I thought those things were out west in California." Pat said, "Well, that's one of them, but they're not just out there. I had an encounter with one of those at my campsite some time ago." This is that story. Well, it was early summer, and as usual, we had already been at camp for weeks, and all the blackberries were ready to be picked. So your grandma had picked a bunch of bushels of them and had given me some to take with me. I was driving not too far from here when a Sasquatch stepped out from behind the brush on the side of the road, crossed right in front of me, and headed up the next bank to go further up the mountain. Well, I stopped my truck as I wasn't really sure what I had just saw. I thought it was very strange to see a bear walk on two legs across the road in that manner, but because I had never seen anything like that before, it didn't look like a bear, didn't act like a bear. It made me scared just seeing it. Well, after a good while, I got my nerves calmed down, and I started up the truck and went to my other campsite, which wasn't far from where I had just seen the big fella cross the road. I hadn't seen or heard anything else for many hours after he crossed in front of me, so I went about my business for the rest of the day. Once the sun went down, though, things got a bit different. All of a sudden, there were strange calls coming from the woods. It seemed like the noise was all around me, and the smell came up on the wind, and I couldn't tell what it was, but it was really foul. I had the blackberry sitting on a bushel basket sitting over on a wooden table not far from the woodline, and I didn't think much about the noises, but they sounded like a whoop, whoop, not like any other animal I knew about here. It really started to get dark. I had my campfires going, and the camp was pretty well lit, but the woods were still dark, and the sounds had gone away, but that smell was still on the air. I thought maybe something had died near camp. Well, I just wrote it off as that. Well, as the night went on, things started to get really weird. I had been awakened by a stick zooming into my camp from the winds. Not like it had fallen from a tree, but rather as if it had been thrown at me. Well, I got up to check to see if there was anyone around, and I'd noticed that my blackberries were knocked over, and most of them were gone. Just gone, like something had taken them. Well, then it sounded like something was walking around my camp, just walking around and around. I'd never had this happen to me in the many, many years I'd been coming up here. The night kind of went on like that. Every so often, from a different place, something was thrown into camp. A rock, a stick, even a small log had just flown in from the woodline. Well, I had my rifle at the ready if something came into camp, but it never did. Well, finally, as the sun had started to creep up over the backside, and wouldn't you know it, I could finally see what had been messing with me all night. And it indeed was that Sasquatch on the tree line all night. There it was, just enough sunlight for me to see this thing standing up just inside the wood line and begin to move behind a big tree. Once the sun was fully up, I noticed it and walked off down the crest of a hill and completely out of sight. Well, I was scared, just as scared as I was the first time I had seen it. I realized what had been stalking me all night, but I wasn't able to leave the camp for 2 more days. So I went out with my rifle and I checked out the area in the daytime, and I'd found the biggest footprints I'd ever seen in my entire life. I guess that's why they call them Bigfoot. Well, I went over to the table where the blackberries had been sitting, and I could follow a trail of them to where the Bigfoot had taken them, sat down in the wood line, and sat there and ate them. They were all over the place, smashed and squished. I had messy berry juice just all over the place. I could only imagine what a mess that animal must have been. I didn't see the animal again after that, and I had to stay at my camp for 2 more days, 2 more nights to finish up what I was doing. I didn't sleep much for those nights, but I never got bothered again after that, although I did get that smell on the air every so often, and still had the feeling of being watched sometimes when I went back to that camp. So if there's something you can bet, if there's one, there are many. There has to be a lot of them to have babies and keep on living on. So you can bet they're up here somewhere. It was scary and exciting, all at the same time. Sadly, not long after this, my grandpa was diagnosed with Parkinson's syndrome. Many things changed after that. Within 8 years, he was so crippled he had to retire to a nursing home, and his days in the woods were over. I used to go and visit him when I could travel to him, and after a few years, he was near the end. His mind was still sharp, but his body was just so eaten up that there was nothing he could be done. I asked about the Sasquatch story he had told me as a child, if it was true. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "Jeffrey, if I ever told you a lie in your entire life, why would this have been any different?" At 10 years old, I was hooked and had the first-hand accounting of what to look for and what to notice. Hence is the origins of Bigfoot Campfire Stories. Thanks for listening. I'm Reverend Jeff, and may the Squatch be with you.
Ogden's celebrated stomach bitters. Can I just ask, celebrated by who? Who's celebrating about stomach bitters?
God, look at the ingredients: cocaine, alcohol, morphine, mercury with chalk. What the hell is mercury with chalk?
Science! And red flannel. Red flannel? There's shirt in here? Pieces of shirt. Okay.